will take on the Booker T. Washington Lions. Independence tonight coming in here 2-0, facing the 0-2 Booker T. Washington Lions. Marty, this year Independence is loaded for bear, led by junior tailback LeBrandon Tofield.
Well, Darrell, they definitely are. You talk about Independence, you're talking about the second-ranked team in AAA. Of course, they're led by LeBrandon Tofield, but they also have a great quarterback in Antron Sieber, and it definitely doesn't stop there. They're solid defensively. They're solid in the special teams. They've got a good receiver, and two good receivers in Williams and Albritton, and they basically have, they're well coached, and they basically have the total package. Now, on the flip side, you have the Booker T. Washington Lions, who are 0-2 at the moment, but a very athletic team, and a team that had a young man that we're all hoping recovers. He was paralyzed in the first game of the season, and they're a team that's in kind of disarray. You know, you have something like that happen, Darrell, and it's hard to recover from, but it's a very athletic team, so I'll look for a very good game tonight.
And tonight we're looking for an explosive offensive show on each side of the ball as Booker T. Washington will throw the football. Independence can score anywhere on the field. So stay tuned for tonight's ball game as the Independence Tigers take on the Booker T. Washington Lions. And here we are in Tiger Stadium as Independence, as the 2-0 Independence Tigers are going to take on the Booker T. Washington Lions. Starting out here tonight, Marty, we've noticed that on the sidelines, Independence has 86 kids dressed to only about 33 for Booker T. So a program that is building year after year. If you have a solid 19th year head coach Charles Baglio, they've had all kind of success, but from what I hear, the whisper on the street is this could be their best chance to go to the Dome in a lot of years.
Well, no doubt about it, Darrell. Independence is loaded. Let's make no mistake about it. They're the number 2 ranked team in AAA, and it starts with the two juniors, the quarterback Antron Sieber and the tailback LeBrandon Tofield. But that's not all. They've got fine defensive nose guard and Don Drake, a great defensive tackle, and Antoine Courtney, and a very good special teams player in Quentin Weatherford. So this is a team that deserves all the accolades they have received.
And this will be our first chance to really see Independence this year. And, you know, you mentioned a lot of names there, but we did find out before the game that the big nose tackle, Don Drake, will not be available for this game as he's not dressed on the sidelines. And Independence will switch to a 4-2 nickel package on defense as Booker T. Washington likes to put the ball in the air a lot. Independence won the toss, but they've elected to kick off and receive for the second half. Number 3, Antron Sieber, will do the kicking off as he is also the quarterback and a fine one as a junior for Independence. Waits the signal, he goes up for the kick. It is in the air and a nice high deep catch where they will catch it about the 1-yard line. That's number 5, Elston Husband. He's hit hard at about the 20-yard line. So nice coverage there by Independence. Tackle made by Brandon Dawson.
Well, Darrell, a pretty nice field position for Booker T. Washington as they set up shop on the 20-yard line, and we can look for them to pass and pass a lot.
Marty, they're going to come out probably in an eye backfield. They're going to run a lot of split backs with 2, 1 to the high, 1 to the low, and a tight end. They're also going to run some 4 wide receiver sets, so they're going to look to throw the ball. And number 10 starting at quarterback is John Carter. Number 1, the tailback, Juvon Horn. And you got to watch him because he's also a quarterback. As we see Antoine Courtney jump up and call a timeout, I think he looked up and saw that number 1 was in the backfield, which is their normal quarterback, and might have smelled out something fishy here to start this game as Booker T. might try to do something flashy early, try to get on the board and take the wind out of Independence sails.
Well, Darrell, we had talked about it earlier that Juwan Horn was their starting quarterback, and Independence noticed that they had a different quarterback in there. So alertly, Courtney called a timeout to make adjustments and make sure everyone's on the right page. So right now, but not a second gone, and we haven't had a play in 1 timeout for the Tigers.
Well, it's not a bad timeout, though. At least they're on the board here. I mean, they're on the ball, Marty. They've got their head in the ball game. They noticed something funny. And I talked to Coach Joe Levine before the game, and he's real, I don't know, antsy about this game because his defensive backs have yet to be tested. They know there's going to be a big test here tonight. So they will come back out once again with John Carter under center. Kind of an offset bone pattern here as he will take the snap, pitch it to Howard, and he's looking to throw just as we called it. He's going deep to number 4. He's over there, and nice play there by number 8. That's Kenny Albritton. the star wide receiver for the Independence Tiger. He had him man-on-man and stayed with him. And when we talked to Coach Levine before the game, they want to get him ready for Mr. Hookfin next week when they play Kentwood. So a lot of man-to-man coverage out of Mr. Albritton tonight.
Well, that was a nice play by Kenny Albritton, but we talked about it. They had Juwan Horn in the tailback position, and they pitched it back to him, and it was a pitch to the tailback, and he just threw it. And the young man has a nice arm, Darrell.
Well, he passed for 254 yards against Forche last week, so he's capable of throwing the football. They will pitch it to him once again. He fakes the pass, and he will throw it, and it's going to be complete for about 14 yards, and he is hit hard by number 66, Steve Mulkey. And looks like Booker T's put in some wrinkles for this game tonight, is that they know that they're going to have to score to beat Independence, because Independence is a powerful offensive machine.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're putting Juwan Horn in the tailback position so he can have time to throw the ball, Darrell. And on the first two plays, the young man's thrown the ball very well, and Booker T. Washington picked up the first down to the 35-yard line.
And once again, John Carter will be under center in this odd set as they line up in tight. Pitches once again to Horn. He's looking to pass. They're going to bring it back to the other side. Number 10, back to the quarterback. Nice play. Gets it out to the 50-yard line. And there's a flag on the play as it's in the area of offensive holding, but they're bringing everything out of the playbook here against Independence. As number 4, that was Keith McLean, came in on the bits, and they held him, Marty. And so a big break for Independence here is they might be a little off balance. I don't think they were expecting this set. We talked to the coaches before the game, and they made no mention of it at all.
Well, they certainly didn't, and me and you have been watching football for many years, and to be quite honest with you, I've never seen anything like this, but pretty imaginative, and it's working.
And, you know, a very good job by them to take their quarterback and put him in a position where they always have to worry about him throwing it. Maybe eventually he'll be able to run a few plays. So we also want to remind everybody the scoreboard is out here, so they're keeping the time on the field. So we will do our best to keep you abreast of the time as we know it from the officials. And they have 2 receivers to the top side of the field, 1 in the slot to the lower half as Carter's under center in the I backfield. Once again, Horn at the tailback. They'll hand it to the fullback, and he's stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Once again, number 66, that's Steve Mulkey, makes a nice play, had a little help from his friends, bring up a 2nd and 20. So if you're Booker T, you probably want to throw the ball, but you're going to have to mix in the run a little bit, and it's going to be hard to run against this defensive line for Independence led by Antoine Courtney.
No doubt about it, Darrell. A very strong defensive front, and right now we see Steve Mulkey doing a good job.
They will come to the line once again. Horn once again at tailback as Carter is down under the center. He takes a snap, fakes a handoff. He's going to drop back to pass. Got a receiver, and there's covered. Well, almost picked off there by number 8. That's Kenny Albritton once again. Looks like he had him to the outside, and the pass drifted a little long. Albritton in good position there, and will hold him to a 3rd and 20.
That was, once again, nice defensive coverage by Kenny Albritton. You see what kind of athlete he is. He's a receiver, doubling as a defensive back and doing a nice job tonight. This game is sponsored by Fidelity Finance of Hammond, located at 118 North Kate Avenue in downtown Hammond. Fidelity Finance of Hammond is locally owned and operated. Stop by our office or call us at 429-8000 for all of your money needs. That's Fidelity Finance.
Carter once again takes a snap. He drops back to pass. Lofted up in the air, and it's going to be deep and out of bounds. So Independence gave up a first down early in a big play, which was negated by a penalty, so it'll bring up a punting situation as we will see Independence on offense for the first time in the ball game, and what a plethora of weapons they have here tonight as we see number 8, Kenny Albritton back to return the punt, and he'll set up shop at about the 45. Number 4, Duran Jackson will be back to do the punting for Booker T. Tigers should come out with good field position here as the snap is made. And it is blocked by number 7. That's Charles Tofield. And the ball's rolling, and Booker T gets a nice roll, but Independence will have the ball at the Booker T 42-yard line. You don't want to give this Independence team too good a field position because they can score anytime they touch the ball from any point in the field. So they're starting out nice here tonight. And we will set up the Independence offense as number 3, Antron Cyber, will start off at the quarterback. Number 2 will be LeBrandon Tofield. We see number 66, Steve Mulkey at 1 offensive lineman. Number 78, Josh Day. 32, Rod Williams. And number 8, Kenny Albritton at the wide receivers. We'll get the rest of the offensive line for you in just a second. As Cyber with Man in motion. Takes a snap. He'll hand off to Tofield as he breaks right. He's got a seam to the outside. He gets a corner. He's down to about the 20-yard line and tight ropes down to about the 15-yard line. We've heard a lot about this Tofield kid. He's got 10 touchdowns in 2 ball games, leads AAA for the state. And right there you saw why, is the speed to the outside and the power and the balance to stay in bounds.
He is the total package, Darrell, and it was just a lead sweep around the right side, and Tofield found an opening, and he did the rest. He's a combination of speed and power, and he's a great one.
They will bring him up to the line now with Cyber under center. Takes a snap, fakes it to Tofield. Albritton comes, and he's got a corner there. If he can just get to the outside, one man to beat. Stiff arm, and he is down at the... He stuck it out there, and he's got the touchdown. What a great headsy play to reach out the ball on the goal line. As you know, all you need the ball is to break the plane, and he did it. Independence jumps on the board early here with a 6-0 lead.
And what a beautiful play call right there. They ran Tofield the first play off the right side. They faked it to him and came away with the reverse to Albritton. And Albritton showed what kind of athletic ability he has as he scampered in from 22 yards to pay dirt to put Independence ahead 6-0.
And any kind of misdirection on the behalf of Independence is going to work because they have to be so cognizant of where Tofield is on the field at all times. So any misdirection there will help Independence score all night long as number 80, Quentin Weatherford, lines up for the extra point. Snaps down, it's fumbled. Weatherford will pick it up, looking to throw it. Nice throw there, and it's going to be knocked down as it was intended for Tofield, so a little miscommunication, a bad snap on the extra point. We'd like to remind you tonight's game is also brought to you by the Independence Boosters Club. Get out there and support the Independence Tigers. Join the Booster Club and help us put this wonderful football team on the air every week, as they have done their job to help get Independence promoted for football.
Tonight's game is also being brought to you by Wall Street Tavern at 216 West Thomas Street in downtown Hammond. What used to be Hammond's best-kept secret is now one of Hammond's finest eating establishments. Enjoy oysters on the half shell as well as daily lunch specials. Open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. Owner Joey Shalacy invites everyone to come by for great food and entertainment. And coming soon, a new concept, Jordan's on Kate.
And also, we'd like to remind you this game is brought to you by Hammond Motel, located at the corner of West Thomas, right behind S&S Sports Center there in Hammond. Mr. Sam Patel, owner, and they've got a nice facility over there. Go by and get you a room one night if you need to stay in Hammond. As number 5 takes the kick off the 1-yard line, they're going to hand it off back to number 4. He's to the outside, got quite a seam, one man to beat, and that was number 26, Ken Benitez, who knocks him out at about the 22-yard line. So Booker T. Washington will set up shop once again as their first drive. Got to move the ball slightly before self-destructing there, but they're down 6-0 early, and I don't really think that they can afford to get down too bad here early in the first half, because I know that Coach Joe Levine said that they have the dime package ready. If they can get ahead, they're going to go with 6 DBs and try to shut this team down.
Well, Darrell, if I'm Booker T. Washington, I want to try to kill some time, because I don't want Independence's offense to get the ball, but that's just not in their game plan. They're a run and gun team, and they're just going to throw the ball.
Carter takes the snap and hands it up, and he meets big Antoine Courtney after about a 3-yard gain, and that was number 4, Duran Jackson. As we've seen him come out with number 1, Javon Horn, as a tailback, and they've changed that this series. I thought it worked pretty well for him. So he'll pick up 4, bring up a 2nd and 6 at about the 27-yard line, as Independence has taken a 6-0 lead somewhere in the middle of the first quarter, as the scoreboard is not working. We're not sure of the exact time. Number 10, John Carter, comes to the line with 2 receivers to the top half of the screen. Calling the signals. They come with a little misdirection. They're trying to get to the outside, and once again, there's number 90, Antoine Courtney, sniffing out with a little help, and let me see if I can get his number 63 there. Nathan Hatfield makes a nice play, and Independence is not going to be fooled on these running plays. I thought that Booker T had a nice game plan coming out in the first series. I think they need to go back to it, and just as we say that, number 1, Javon Horn, comes back out on the field.
Well, Darrell, not only is Independence big, but they're also fast, so you're not going to fool them with a lot of misdirections, as Antoine Courtney just stayed at home, and he made a fine play.
And one thing that we've heard said about Antoine Courtney is he's a man out there, and when he wants to play, he's hard to handle by anybody on the field. We'd also like to bring out one of our sponsors tonight is Ragusa's Building Supply here in Independence, owned by Charles Ragusa. It's located right there on 405 West Railroad Avenue. Go by and see Charles, Bruce, and Judy over there for all your plumbing, electrical, building, and paint supplies, as they're here to support Independence football tonight. We'd also like to remind you it's brought to you by Pro Motors in Albany. Go see Chick and Doy over there, as they have a lot of nice used cars there in Albany, and they're supporting the Tangy Game of the Week, as we're proud here to be here tonight. This is Darrell Smith along with Marty Morgan and our cameraman, Catfish Phil. I'm sure y'all heard of him from his radio days. Quite a celebrity around here. We're going to keep him off camera, though, tonight. As we see Coach Joe Levine kind of was walking there on the sideline, pacing up and down. He was real nervous coming in tonight's game, as they want to get a good performance here going into next week when they face the Kentwood Kangaroos.
And we'll be back at Tiger Stadium next week, as it should be a good one. Number 2 ranked Kentwood in AA, and number 2 ranked Independence in AAA. So join us once again next week, as Tangy TV will be right back here at Tiger Stadium.
It's going to be 3rd down 11, as now we see Jawan Horn is in at quarterback with number 4, Duran Jackson at the tailback. 3 wide receiver set, 1 to the top, 2 to the bottom. He's going to drop back to pass. He's being chased. Throws it out in the flat to Jackson. And you had number 63, Nathan Hatfield, out there in coverage. And a nice job by Independence there. Booker T is really mixing up their formations here and their personnel, but they've yet to be able to get the ball down the field, as Independence has shut them down on 2 drives, and they will once again get the ball in excellent field position, as number 8, Kenny Albritton, will be back to take the punt at about the 45-yard line. He awaits it. So number 4, Jackson, the tailback, will be back in punt formation. Independence got all 10 men up, tight line. Looks like they are in block formation, as they got close last time. Blocked it again. It's going to roll. They're going to pick it up, and if he doesn't kick it out the end zone. And that will be a safety, as the coaches must have saw something in the films all week, because they've come hard after 2 punts and got both of them.
And that's just great execution on the part of Independence to block 2 punts. And right there, Johnny on the spot, number 7, Charles Tofield, busting in to make the block. So Independence starting off very good, as they bolt to an 8-0 lead midway in the first period. And after the safety, they will receive the kick.
And the only thing they could have done better on that play was just fall on the ball, and they'd had the ball at the 3-yard line for the touchdown. But you can't blame a kid for hustling, and a nice play by the Independent special teams. We've watched a lot of games so far this season, and special teams have been big in each one that we've played. Everybody worries about offense and defense, but special teams can make you or break you, and so far Independence has had the better of it tonight. Booker T will line up, as they will get a free kick from the 20-yard line, so we see Tofield back in the middle to receive. Also number 5, that's Otto Bonds, and number 6, Devarius Best, 2 of the free safeties for Independence, back to receive, as they will set up at about the 28-yard line. Booker T will try to keep the ball out of Tofield's hands, as Duran Jackson will line up to kick the ball from the 20. Waiting for the official's time, as that is now number 40, John Veal, set to kick. And it is up. Short kick will be taken by the up back, number 9, that's Danny Wells. Breaks it up the middle, get to the 40, the 35, carrying people down to about the 32-yard line. And it's what you teach your up backs when you get a short, is just run it straight up the middle, get what you can, as they have set up with great field position at the 32-yard line.
And Danny Wells did a very good job right there. He did not fumble the ball, and he just ran straight ahead and got Independence in an excellent field position once again, as they are on Booker T. Washington's 32-yard line.
And this reminds me so much of the Saints 49ers game this weekend, as every play within the first quarter and a half was on the Saints half of the field, and so far we've lived on the Booker T half of the field. Cyber under center, 1 receiver to the top half, 2 to the bottom. Tofield, the lone setback. He's going to throw it, a little pressure. He gets away. As he looks up, he's going to tuck it in, try to run it, get the corner. He's inside the 25, out at the 24-yard line. Heads-up play, as Antron Cyber made a little bit out of nothing, as he'll pick up about 6 yards on the carry.
Well, he had great pressure right there by number 40, that was John Veal, and Sieber had the presence of mind to escape, and he made a pickup of 7 yards out of nothing. So a nice job by Antron Sieber to get 8 yards.
And Booker T came with number 57, that's Sidney Nicholas, on the blitz and had him in the backfield, but Sieber is real good at getting away from the rush, and he's got a cannon of an arm, as we saw in the Jamboree early in the year. So they're not just one-dimensional, as some Independence teams have been a little more in the past, strictly run. He can throw the football. Drops back once again, hands off to Tofield, crease up the middle, met hard, ball's on the ground. Looks like Independence will get it back. Can't see the number of the person who recovered, but don't want to put the ball on the ground at this end of the field with up 8-0. You can really kind of get a nice lead here and do some things defensively if you're Independent. So hold on to the football here as he'll come up about a yard short.
Ronell Valerie came up from his linebacker spot and put a nice lick on Tofield to jar the ball loose, but an alert Independence Tiger pounced on the ball, so Independence retains possession to bring up a 3rd down and 2.
And a 3rd down and a short 2 as we see the I backfield with 1 receiver to the top side and 1 to the bottom. Sieber barking out the signals, and we have a flag down. Couldn't quite see what happened there. Looks like somebody's equipment is not quite right. One of the linemen for Independence, it appears to be. And you know, we haven't talked about big number 54 for Independence, Kerry Watkins. He's a 6'6", 265-pound, highly sought-after offensive lineman, and he leads a very good offensive line for Independence as they're backed up 5 yards, will bring up 3rd and 7. And he was rated as one of the top 10 in the state before the season and the preseason polls that we saw. So a very good offensive lineman for Independence. Antron takes a snap, fakes the handoff to Tofield, gets to the outside. He's got a wide open man, throws it deep. That's Albritton, and touchdown. And Albritton has the ability, as he's a basketball player, to adjust to the ball. The ball was a little high, and he made a perfect catch as they jump out to a 14-0 lead.
And Darrell, that's a very hard pass to complete as Antron Sieber rolled to his left, throwing across his body, and found Kenny Albritton on a post pattern. Just a beautifully executed play as Independence scores another touchdown on a 32-yard pass completion from Antron Sieber to Kenny Albritton.
And Quentin Weatherford will line up for the extra point. Had a bad snap on the first one. Better snap this time. The kick is up, and it's good as Independence Tigers have jumped out to a 15-0 lead here. And the thing that impressed me most about the throw was he got to the outside and looked like he could have ran for the first down, but the kid was heads up enough to look down the field and find the open man for the touchdown. So nice execution by the Independence Tigers that they've ran, 4 or 5 plays on offense and have 2 scores.
And they look awfully good, Darrell. They're as good as advertised. Tonight's game is sponsored by Fidelity Finance of Hammond, located at 118 North Kate Avenue in downtown Hammond. Fidelity Finance of Hammond is locally owned and operated. Stop by our office or call us at 429-8000 for all of your money needs. That's Fidelity Finance of Hammond.
And as you noticed on your screen, the Independence High cheerleaders are getting this packed crowd here, a capacity crowd at Independence Stadium on the home side of the field as they're fired up about these Independence Tigers. Sieber kicks off. This one's going to be deep. He's going to take it at about in the end zone, and that's going to be a touchback. And what a weapon when you have a kid that can put the ball in the end zone, because that means the other team has to go 80 yards for the score. Nice job by Antron Sieber, the quarterback, as he boots one in the end zone. And after 2 unsuccessful series, let's see if Booker T goes back to Javon Horn at tailback and try to open the field up a little bit as he trots on the field, or if they put him under center. They came out with kind of a gimmick offense, and it looked like it might work for the first couple of plays, but down 15-0, Independence will be looking for all the gimmicks here. So Booker T comes out, number 1 Horn under center, I backfield, 2 receivers to the top of the screen, 1 to the bottom. As he looks over the defense there, Independence in a 5-2 defense. He rolls right, throws on the run, hits the receiver in the hands. That's number 22, who is not in the program, as he drops the ball. So to bring up a 2nd and 10, and this defense for Independence is playing pretty well so far. They were worried about the DBs, but they're doing a nice job so far.
Well, everybody knows about Independence's offense, but I think their defense is equally strong, as they have just completely stymied Booker T. Washington And I'm going to tell you, Booker T. Washington throws the ball very well. It's just been good defensive job by Independence.
And looking at the size of the receivers for Booker T, they have a little height advantage on Independence as Horn rolls right again, puts the ball in the air, got an open receiver, but overthrows him and almost picked off there by number 6, Devarius Bass. So a little high on that one, Marty. This kid, Horn for Booker T, threw for a lot of yardage last week against Forshey, even though they came up on the losing end of a 12-6 ball game. So he has the ability to throw the football, but right now Independence is making all the right moves.
Well, he is a very good athlete, and that was just a little overthrow, but Independence, to their credit, has been around the ball. The defensive backs have been in the right positions, and they've just not allowed Booker T. Washington to get anything going.
Big 3rd down and 10 plays. You're down 15-0, and if you can't make it here, you're going to give Independence excellent field position once again. Horn looks over the defense as we have 2 receivers to the top and 1 to the bottom. High backfield, he drops back to throw, a little pressure, and it's tipped at the line, picked off and down. And once again, that's number 6, Devarius Bass. So if Coach Joe Levine was worried about his DBs, they're doing the job so far as they work the tip drill to perfection.
And Devarius Bass right there, just watching the quarterback's eyes, was in the right position to make the interception. And once again, they get the ball in good field position at Booker T. Washington's 30. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Wall Street Tavern at 216 West Thomas Street in downtown Hammond. What used to be Hammond's best-kept secret is now one of Hammond's finest eating establishments. Enjoy oysters on the half shell as well as daily lunch specials, open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
And Independence with 2 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top. Drop back, throw a nice little pass, tipped at the line, intended for Albritton, and number 57 once again came on the blitz. That's Sidney Nicholas, and tipped the ball behind the field. So Independence not strictly going with Tofield here. They're trying to mix it up and using him as a decoy. And how can you argue with 5 or 6 plays and 2 touchdowns? And once again, they're starting out at the 32-yard line of Booker T.
Well, you can't. That may be the only mistake they've made all night offensively, and that was they were trying to set up a receiver screen, and just a nice play by Sidney Nicholas to stop that, or Albritton might have scored another touchdown because he had a wall in front of him. He could have gone a long way.
And Independence with Tofield in motion. They have Otto Bass as the tailback. They'll pitch him the ball as he'll get a carry. Nicholas gets a hand on him, and he'll get inside. He breaks free, gets to the outside, cuts down to about the 20-yard line, but there is a flag down. I think Independence is going to get called for holding here. So once again, using Tofield as a decoy as number 5. That's Otto Bonds, who is a junior, a 5'6", 150-pound junior. They get him a carry here. So Independence trying to keep everybody fresh and keep the ball in different people's hands, but I think they're going to be called for holding here, which will back them up 10 yards and bring up a 2nd and 20.
Well, Darrell, what makes Independence so dangerous is not only do they have Tofield and Seaver, but they got Albritton, they got Otto Bonds, they have Williams. They just have a plethora of offensive weapons, and they're a tough team to stop.
A lot of weapons out there, as we see number 9, and that's Danny Wells trot out on the field. You know, we don't get to mention the offensive linemen enough. Number 80, the tight end, is Quentin Weatherford, and number 79 is Brett Anzalon. 66, Steve Mulkey. 78 is Josh Day, and they do a fine job along with Kerry Watkins on that offensive line. Also, number 67 is Briscoe Brown, the center. Snap goes to Cyber. He hands to Tofield. He's got a crease, and he could be gone if he can get to the outside. And once again, the ball's on the turf. He picks it up and runs again. We'll be down at the 15, but once again, Marty, there's laundry on the field. I think they might get him for, I'm not sure. This one's a little far down the field. Might not be holding. I'm not sure. But Tofield has put the ball on the turf twice here, and that's the only thing I believe that he can do to hurt this team, as it will be clipping called on the Independence Tigers. So up 15-0 late in the first quarter, kind of self-destructing on his 3rd series here. So that will push them back and bring up 2nd and 30.
Well, that's 2 penalties back-to-back, and I'm sure Coach Charles Bagley was not going to like that. He can't be too happy with the penalties, but thus far, that is the only things they have done wrong early in the first quarter. Is Independence leads 15-0.
And this will be the first play of the ball game played on the Independence half of the 50-yard line. So penalties have pushed them back. Second down, 30 yards to go. Let's see if they give the ball to Tofield. They try to put it in the air, and we look like we have man coverage at the bottom of the screen to Kenny Albritton. Look for maybe a out and up for him as he drops back, hands to Tofield, crease up the middle. Needs a block by Albritton, gets it, cuts back, and he's gone, folks. You're not going to catch this guy. And we talked about it earlier. Anytime you put the ball in LeBrandon Tofield's hands, 6 points is within your grasp.
Darrell, I'm going to tell you, I've been doing games for 5 years, and I've never seen a running back as good as him. I mean, he's got explosion, speed, moves. He's phenomenal.
And he's running behind a nice offensive line there, senior-laden offensive line. He's only a junior, so he'll be back next year. And you got to say at this point he's got to be a major college prospect, as they have jumped up here 21-0 on Booker T. And the only problem he's going to have with his stats, they're getting ahead of people by so far. He's not going to get the amount of carries, but next week will be the true test against the Kentwood Kangaroos, as Quentin Weatherford lines up for the extra point. It's down, it's up, and once again it is good, and the score will now be Independence 22, Booker T. Washington nothing. Once again, this game brought to you by Ragusa Building Supply. Go see Charles Ragusa down there. If you're fixing up your house, working in your yard, building a doghouse, it doesn't matter. They've got everything you need down there. I was down there the other day, and I was listening to Judy waiting on some people, and she knows more about building stuff than I do. So if you don't know what you're doing, they can help you out, or if you know what you need, they've got the materials for you. Also, Hammond Motel there in Hammond. Sam Patel has plenty of rooms to rent, nice, clean atmosphere. If you need somewhere to stay, if you're in Hammond one night, that's the place to go. And also, Pro Motors in Albany. Chick and Die have a lot of nice used cars down there in Albany. You go by there and see them. They've got 30 years of experience in the car business. They can fix you up. It's right there in Albany next to the red light. As Cyber, once a win, will kick off. He's kicked 2 to the 1 yard line and 1 in the end zone. So this kid's got a very good leg as he will boot the ball. This one's going to come down inside the 5 yard line at the 4. That is Jackson. Tries to come up the middle, slows his step. He got a little bit of a seam, and he's hit by number 40. And I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, but Tykeith Smith makes the tackle as Booker T will come out for their 4th series, and so far they can't get anything going aside from the first 2 or 3 plays, and it's going to be a long night for them if they can't keep that Independence offense off the field.
Well, Darrell, Booker T. Washington is going to have to just settle down and try to get some sort of execution going, as they have not done anything right in the first quarter. As they have had 2 turnovers, and Independence has capitalized on both of them. So Booker T. Washington needs to settle down, pick up a couple first downs, and get a little more confidence and get something going.
And they will come with 3 receivers to the top side of the field and 1 to the bottom. Horn at quarterback with number 3. Teddy McCann in as the lone tailback, takes a snap. Once again, rolls right. Nice coverage there as they didn't quite make the play. Run down by number 66, Steve Mulkey. And a nice job out on the outside there. I believe that was number 89 of David Copeland of forcing the play back into the help. And Independence makes a nice play to hold him to a half-yard gain.
And right there, Mulkey doing a fine job from his defensive tackle, as we've called his name quite a few times tonight, as the young man has played a very good game thus far. So that brings up 2nd down and 9, with Independence leading 22-0 late in the first quarter.
And Independence doing a nice job of pursuing on defense. And we haven't mentioned number 56's name. That's Gerald Whittington. He's plugging up that middle, forcing them to the outside, so nice job by him. Horn calling the plays under center. 3 receivers set, 2 to the high side, 1 to the low, with number 3 McCann at tailback. He's going to throw a little out pattern to the outside. He's got a receiver and just overthrows him. Not bad coverage there by number 5, Otto Bonds, and number 8, Kenny Albritton, coming over to help. Had a little bit of a step, but it would have had to been a perfect pass there from Horn.
And that was a good idea by Booker T. Washington. He had one-on-one coverage, and Horn just overthrew Elston Husband, or he would have picked up a first down, but Bonds and Albritton were right on the spot with nice coverage.
And so far, Booker T. Washington just can't get anything going, can't complete a pass, so it's going to be a long night here for these lines from Booker T. Washington, as Horn, once again, in the 3 receiver set. He's going to roll right, unload 1 deep, receiver, but they're there all over him, number 6. And I got to tell you something, Devarius Bass had excellent position there, playing the free safety spot, and he was all over that pass. So Booker T on 4th and 10 will have to punt the ball once again, as Independence will get great field position. This Independence defense has done the job tonight so far.
Independence's defense is trying to mirror their offense. They're not going to let the offense get ahead of them. They're doing a fine job, both offensively and defensively. And Booker T. Washington, I don't know what they can do to get a first down, Darrell, as they're having all kind of problems.
And I kind of like the way they came out the ball game, putting Horn in at tailback with the ability to run or throw as they come after the punt again. It's a low liner taken by Albritton. He'll break to the right, got the ball in the wrong hand, but there he switches it, gets to the outside, and one man to beat. He's at the 15, cuts inside, stumbles down at the 7-yard line. Saving tackle there by number 44, Ronell Valerie. Nice job by Albritton, and he's quite an athlete.
He certainly is, Darrell, and he's a very good basketball player, as he was a point guard on the Independence basketball team. And the young man took the punt, got some good blocking, eluded 2 would-be tacklers, and brought the ball down to the 8-yard line. And folks, if you're out there and you got Independence on your schedule, you need to be worried.
Independence is definitely loaded for lines tonight, and we'll see next week as the Kentwood Kangaroos are, you know, we talked about them last week. They went all the way to the state finals, losing overtime there at the Dome. So, and they're, from what I hear, as good or better than they were last year, so it should be quite a matchup. 22-0 you score. Independence first and goal on the 7-yard line. Out backfield with Tofield, and they'll hand it to him. He's got a little seam, spins back, nice move, gets it down to the 3-yard line. As the outside was closed down, he just did a little pirouette and got back in the middle of the field, bring up 2nd and 3.
Right there, another handoff, a deep handoff to Tofield. What Independence likes to do is they do a lot of zone blocking, and they let Tofield pick the hole. And right there, he got a hole, but it closed quickly, so it'll bring the ball 2nd down and goal at the 2-yard line for the Tigers.
And they will line up now with 3 men in the backfield. Tofield will follow his blocker, and he's hitting the backfield. Nice play there by number 3, Teddy McGann, as he pitches it back and gets to the outside, and touchdown by Antron Cyber.
And right there, Tofield, he had 2 guys on him, and he pitched the ball back alertly to the quarterback, Antron Sieber, and Sieber raced around the left side for the score, bringing the score to 28-0, and everything is clicking for the Tigers.
And a dangerous play by Tofield there as he pitched the ball back while being hung on. As a coach, sometimes you take a deep breath and go, oh no, and then you go, great play, and it works for him, as everything else has tonight here at Independence. And these Independence fans, the crazies, are out tonight here as they love their Tigers down here at Tiger Stadium as they line up for the extra point. It is down, and the kick is up by Weatherford, and once again it's good. So aside from the bad snap on the first extra point and a couple penalties, Independence has been flawless tonight.
As they lead 29-0 late in the first quarter, we'd like to apologize as the clock is disoperable tonight, so we have to rely on the referees on the field. So it's late in the first quarter, isn't it, Darrell?
Very late in the first quarter, and you know, the other night we were up at Wall Street watching the ball game, getting a little something to eat, and I got to tell you, Joey Shalacy is excited about his new venture, which is going to be Jordan's on Kate Street. It's going to be located on Kate Street right next to Paris Parker, I believe, and it is going to be a Class A restaurant there, fine dining there in the middle of downtown Hammond. So we wish him well on his new venture, and if the food's anything like it is at Wall Street, it's going to be great.
And if it has the personality that Joey Shalacy has, it's going to be great. If you don't know him, he's a very fun guy to be around.
And they don't call him the genius for nothing, as the kick goes back to the 1-yard line, taken by Jackson. Once again, the return goes up the middle, and nice tackle. Let me see the number on this one. That's number 24, Brandon Dawson, and textbook tackle as he just put his helmet right in his chest, picked him up, and dropped him at the 21-yard line. So Booker T will come out on offense, and down 29-0. You came out gimmicky early and it didn't work, but I think that has been their most productive scheme. So what do you do now as you've been stuffed on 4 possessions, and every time Independence touches the ball, they're in the end zone?
Well, I think they have to get something going, Darrell. I think they have to execute a little better, and they tried to catch Independence off guard, and it just didn't work. So they're going to have to go back to their offense and start executing and try to pick up a couple first downs.
And Horn will drop back to pass once again, getting pressured, forced to the outside, makes a nice throw, man open, and overthrows him once again. So Horn's timing's being rushed a little bit by these linemen as Antoine Courtney was chasing him to the outside, and he just can't seem to put the ball in the money. As a couple of occasions he's had people slightly open, not wide open, but slightly open, completable position, but he just can't put the ball in the money right now, and the pressure from the defensive line of Independence has to be the key.
And folks, this is not a bad Booker T. Washington team. I just honestly think Independence is that good that they're making Booker T. Washington look this bad, because they have got a lot of fine athletes.
And the key to this game tonight so far, they have overwhelmed Booker T. Washington. Javon Horn once again under center, struggling to find something that'll work here as he drops back, rolls right, short pass completed this time. And he will be knocked down. Nice tackle there by number 21. That's Russ Williams. And to get your confidence up, you're going to have to complete a couple of these short passes and just try to move the chains once or twice as they come up with a 3rd and 7.
29-0 late in the first quarter. Independence leads. Booker T. Washington has the ball on their own 26-yard line, desperately needing a first down. 3rd down and 6 for the Lions.
So a big 3rd down play here late in the first quarter of a 29-0 ball game. Booker T desperately has to get something going here. I backfield, 2 receivers to the high side and 1 to the bottom in man coverage. That's Albritton in man coverage. Look for this pass to come this way. He drops back, and oh no. Penetration there and sacked for a loss by number 56, Gerald Whittington. We said a few minutes ago we hadn't called his name, but a big play there on 3rd down by Whittington.
It certainly was. Gerald Whittington just came in unblocked and did a nice job. And once again, Booker T. Washington will be forced to punt, and that's not one of their strong suits, Darrell.
And Albritton will set up right around his own 45-yard line, so any kind of return, and they're right back in Booker T's territory. As number 4, Duran Jackson, will set back to punt. Independence is coming once again for the block. He gets this one off, a low line drive to Albritton, and he breaks up the middle. Got him concealed, but he gets to the outside. He turns it up, down inside the 30, cuts back. Flag down in the backfield around the punter, so I'm not sure if he got roughed or ran into. We didn't see the play, so we'll have to wait for the flag as he makes a nice run back and gets it down to the 14-yard line. And it is against Independence for roughing the kicker, and if that is roughing, it'll be 15 yards and a first down for Booker T. So a nice break there for them as they try to get back in this game, as Independence has totally dominated this team so far in the first quarter, and it is 29-0.
And Darrell, that may be the break that the Lions needed, is they got a roughing the kicker penalty, and that's, aside from a couple fumbles, that's about the only thing that the Tigers have done wrong tonight.
But that's one of the mistakes that'll eat at Coach Baglio, is you give them a first down when you've had a big play to put you back in to score again. And they work on special teams a lot, and it's just not one of the plays. But when you're going after the kick to block it, sometimes those things happen. And they've came every time that Booker T has punted. And this Independence coaching staff does a lot of film work as they prepare each week for these teams, and they obviously saw something during the week that makes them think that they can get to this kicker for Booker T, and they've gotten to him twice tonight. So Booker T will line up first down and 10 yards to go at their own 35. This might be their best field position of the night. I backfield, Horn under center with Jackson and McCann, 2 receivers to the top half and 1 to the bottom. Drops back, hands off, and nowhere to go as he's hit twice. And that's number 89, David Copeland, on the tackle. Nice play there as they've stuffed them at the line of scrimmage every time they've tried to run the ball tonight.
And Booker T. Washington trying a little off-tackle play, but David Copeland at his defensive end spot would have none of that. And he just got back to the line of scrimmage, Darrell. And that'll be the end of our first quarter with your score. Independence Tigers 29 and the Booker T. Washington Lions 0.
And we want to mention one of our sponsors here, the Independence High School Booster Club. If you're out there and you're wanting to help support this Independence football team, go by and check out Coach Baggs and let him know that you're interested or something during the week, and get involved here. Join the Independence High Booster Club, as they do everything they can to help promote Independence Tigers football.
And you would be well advised to be a booster, because it's a good year to join the club, because this is a great team, a fun team to watch, and they're going to go a long way.
Get on the train, because they're going for a long ride, hopefully all the way to the Dome this year, as last year they lose out in the state semifinals to eventual state champion Evansville, and probably they'll meet them somewhere along the road this year. But Independence is strong, number 2 in the state, and they're showing why tonight. Booker T will come up once again. Everybody in tight here in an I set. 2 men in close to the bottom half of the screen, 1 in the slot to the top half, as Horn barks the signals out. Independence with 7 men on the line of scrimmage. Horn drops back to throw. Rolling a little bit left. There's going to be a holding call as he's pressured and throws it over the man's head once again, but you just can't have time to put the ball on the money when they're getting the kind of pressure that Independence is on this Booker T quarterback, Horn.
And I think that's one of the reasons that Coach John Baker came out in the first quarter trying to give, that's Coach Charles Perkins. That's one of the reasons that he came out in that formation, Darrell, as he had saw something on the 2 previous films that he was not going to have time to throw the ball, and thus he had, instead of the shotgun, he would just use Horn as a tailback, possibly to throw Independence off and to give them a little more time. And it did not work, but it was a good idea, because Independence has shown that they have a lot of pressure.
And this holding call marched off from the spot of the foul, and it will move them back, and it'll bring up a second and about 32 yards for a first down. Booker T marching in the wrong directions, as the fans on this end of the field are probably happy that Independence is going this way now. They're going to see some action. So 2nd and 30-something, as Horn will line up. Once again, he'll go to the air as he takes a snap, drops back, and no, he doesn't. He hands off up the middle. Jackson gets the outside, cuts back, gets the ball up to about the 32-yard line. So they caught us off balance in Independence a little bit on a nice run, and it'll bring up about a 3rd and 14 for Booker T.
And that was a delay handoff to Deron Jackson, and he cut it upfield, and nice run, Darrell. That's the first positive yardage that Booker T's had all night.
And this is the 2nd year for Coach Charles Perkins there at Booker T, and I know he's doing everything he can to get a winning program over there. And sometimes it takes a little while. And you look at the Independence sideline, they have coaches that have been here a long time. This is the 19th year for Coach Baggs, and consistency will help build you a winner year after year, and they win year after year here in Independence. They're like a model for what you want to be as a high school football program. As it is 3rd and 15 for Booker T. Horn once again under center, 3 backs in the backfield, split receivers. Independence in their nickel package as he'll roll right, once again throwing long, and he just lobs it up there and throwing too far to the outside once again. And we've seen that play about 10 times so far, and it hadn't worked yet for Booker T. So Independence is reading it, and it'll bring up 4th down, and they'll get the ball back once again.
And back deep to receive is the ever so dangerous Kenny Albritton. He has had 3 punts, and Darrell, he's almost taken all 3 of them back. One was he brought back to the 3, one was a clipping penalty, and another one he brought back to the 15-yard line. So Kenny Albritton is a dangerous punt returner.
And Deron Jackson will be back to punt. Independence lined up once again to go for the block. As he gets it off quick, shanks it a little bit to the right side. It will not be returnable, and takes an Independence roll, and once again they will start out on the Booker T 48-yard line. And there's a flag once again, as they might have got to rough the kicker one more time. I can't tell, but the flag is in the area of the kicker.
And Darrell, I believe that's what, from my vantage point, that is what I saw, and that is exactly what it's going to be. So that's going to be a first down for Booker T. Washington, and things are starting to turn around for the Lions in the 2nd quarter.
Well, turn around by mistakes by Independence, but up 29-0, and getting great field position. You might want to back off of the block, even though you've got to, but you're ahead now. And the way that this kid's returned the football, I'd like to see him back in a blocking scheme, and he can break it any time he touches it.
Well, Darrell, I don't know. I just think that it's kids being aggressive. I don't know that Coach Bagley was necessarily putting the block on, but I don't know if anybody is up front for Booker T. Washington is blocking, so they're just letting them come free, and why not take a shot?
Well, it's hard to block 10 men when you got 10 coming. It's going to be tough for them, but they've roughed the kicker twice here to keep the drive alive for Booker T as we are just starting the second quarter. And number 5, Elston Husband, who they've thrown to him deep all night, yet to complete one, lines up to the bottom half, and he's rolling right, looking for him once again on the out pattern. This one's complete. Carries them down to a first down at the 41-yard line, so that's the first time that we've seen Horn put the ball on the money to Husband, and they get a first down of it inside Independence territory at the 41-yard line.
And that was a nice route by Husband as he ran a out route to the first down sticks, and quarterback Horn put it right on the money, and just a nice throw and catch for Booker T. Washington for positive yardage across to the Independence 41-yard line.
And the defensive back Best was in position, but it was a situation of the bigger receiver shielded him away from the ball with his body and made the catch, a la Michael Irvin. So only, I think, the second first down that Booker T has made aside from the penalty first downs as they move the ball to the 41-yard line, 1st and 10. Just into the second quarter, Independent leads 29-0, and they will hand off to the fullback. Nice hole as he breaks a tackle, dragging number 66. That's Steve Malky, down for about an 8-yard gain. So Booker T starting to come alive a little bit here in the second quarter, and maybe Independence up 29-0 has relaxed a little bit.
Well, that also could be the case, Darrell, but I think that Booker T. Washington has mixed it up so much that Independence, you know, it's kind of impossible to guard against everything as they've thrown long, they've thrown short, they've pitched it outside, they pitched it inside. It's not like they have 5 plays and try to execute it. They have hundreds of plays.
And here we go with Horn under center, 3 running backs in the backfield with split receivers. He will take the snap, quick pass, try to throw it over the top, and that's number 7 on the coverage. Charles Tofield just wouldn't let him get by him. And a nice job there by the defensive backs for Independence. Brings up 3rd down and 2.
And Horn right there calling a little audible as he saw the one-on-one coverage, but he did not see the strong safety Devarius Best sneaking over there. But nice anticipation by Horn. Just Best read it, and he was not going to allow that pass to be completed.
Once again, nickel package on defense for Independence as Horn lines up under center. He'll take the snap, hand it to the fullback, and stuffed there by 66. Steve Malky, also number 90, Antoine 24. Brandon Dawson, as they just gang tackle there and hold him short of the first down, will bring up 4th and about 1.
And Darrell, Stephen Malky, we've called his name quite a lot. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Teddy Bruschi, now a New England Patriot and former Arizona Wildcat. Very kind of a short young man, well built, and just tough as a cowboy boot.
Also, number 63 from Hammond High a few years ago, R.P. Skalash. Reminds me a lot of him. So number 1, Javon Horn under center as we see Courtney faking the rush inside. He gets some penetration as they go outside, and he's going to stumble and fall down at the 35 as it looked like he might have had a shot at the first down. Independence will take over on downs at their own 35-yard line. So Independence up 29-0. We'll bring them out now once again as they've scored almost every time they've touched the football.
And that they have, Darrell, a very potent offensive Independence Tiger attack. And it's just exciting to sit up here and watch their offense go to work as they are so well coached and they execute so well. It's hard to stop them.
And they come out of the huddle on the sideline and go straight to the line of scrimmage with Williams to the bottom of the screen, and also, I believe that's number 81, Matt Jones to the top side. Tofield the long setback as 9 Wells goes in motion. Cyber takes the ball, flag on the play. Tofield stuffed in the backfield, hit by 3 people and dragged down. That's number 55, LaJonathan Howard, and there's a flag on the play in the backfield of Independence.
And we'll see as the referee sort it out. And it's going to be illegal motion on the Tigers, so that'll back them up 5 yards and bring up 1st down and 15. But I think Booker T. Washington will decline it, so it'll bring 2nd down and 10 with 7:15 to go before half, and Independence leading 29-0.
And anytime you can take an extra play out of the Independence hands, you do it. The 5 yards wouldn't have meant much because they can go the distance anytime. And The only bad thing about having a prolific offense as Independence does, they score so quickly the defense has to stay on the field a lot. So Cyber and an I under center with an I backfield, split receivers, one to the top and one to the bottom. He'll drop back to pass, trying to run the out pattern. Rolls to his left, looking for a secondary receiver. Nobody there, and we'll just run it out of bounds for about a no gain, actually, and he'll bring up 3rd and 10. So good job, good athletic job by Cyber just to tuck it under and take what he had, because he knows he can pick up 10 yards on the next play, as nothing was open as they went to the out pattern to the top side, and it was covered like a blanket.
And Darrell, in the second quarter, Booker T. Washington's kind of strapped it up and done a nice job. They were kind of shell-shocked early on, but they've settled into this ball game, and they've maintained to not allow Independence to get anything going in the second quarter.
And down 29-0, you had to do something to stop this locomotive express, as the Independence offense has been ringing them up all night, and they will take a timeout there as Cyber didn't see something he liked. And we will take this time to tell you about our sponsors. Once again, we'd like to thank Fidelity Finance of Hammond. They're located at 118 North Cape Avenue in downtown Hammond. Fidelity Finance of Hammond is locally owned and operated. Stop by the office or call us at 429-8000 for all your money needs. And also, once again, we'd like to remind you that the Independence Booster Club is helping to sponsor this game and get it on the air. They're out there supporting these Tigers, and they want to get them on the air. And we want to thank everybody who sponsored tonight's game and all the games this year, and remind you that if you go into one of these businesses, let them know that you saw the game, that you appreciate them getting them on the air. I saw a gentleman earlier tonight, and he asked where we're doing the game, and he told me it's really great because one of the players' grandfather is home in a wheelchair, wasn't able to come to the game, and this allows him to sit home and see his grandson play. And, you know, what else can you ask for? If you're one of the parents or friends of these kids, maybe you work late, not able to go to the game, and you can catch these games on Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday on Channel 17. That's Tangipahoa Television. This is Tangi Sports. I'm Darrell Smith along with Marty Morgan and Catfish Phil on the camera. Cyber drops back, hands off to Tofield, and he's hit hard in the backfield. Big play there by Teddy McGann as he stuffed him in the backfield, and Independence will be forced to punt, I believe, for the first time tonight. And Quentin Weatherford is the punter for Independence, got quite a leg on him. I watched him in the warm-ups, and he can really boom them.
And Quentin really can. I had the great pleasure to coach Quentin Weatherford in Summer League Baseball, and what a pleasant kid to be around. Just a nice kid, comes from a great family, and he's a very good baseball player as well as a very good football player. So I kind of have a little something special for Quentin, as he's a young man I've shown a little favoritism to, having coached him.
And they will punt as the punter lines up. Quentin Weatherford at his 19-yard line. Man comes up free up the middle, punts it straight up in the air, and it will hit the ground and take an Independence roll. Almost hit a Booker T player as they pick it up and run it, but it obviously missed him, as it will be blown dead at the 30-yard line of Booker T. And they will come out now with a 1st and 10 from their own 30. Almost another big play by Independence on special teams as they get a nice kick.
6:27, play of the first half. Second quarter score, St. James 6, AB nothing.
As we hear the boos from the crowd there, as we hear the score of the St. James Amite game, St. James leads 6-0, and even though Independence and Amite are big rivals, they like to see Amite do well also, as we like to see all the Tangipahoa teams do well. And so far this season, Ponchatoula undefeated, Hammond struggling a little bit, but we know how talented they are. And Independence, Kitwood, Amite, all of them off to great starts here. So Booker T brings it out, first down at 10 at the 30-yard line. They've got to get something going here, as they've picked it up on defense a hair, but need to move the ball on offense and try to get something on the board. Hand the ball off to the tailback. Jackson gets to the outside. He's got a step out at the 47-yard line. Nice run by Jackson. And that's once again the safeties, Bess and Tofield, come over to make the tackle, but he got a crease, and another first down for Booker T. They're starting to mix it up a little better, Marty, with the run and the pass, and have gotten a couple of first down in the last couple of series.
And that they have, Darrell, is like we talked about, Booker T. Washington's kind of settled down, got a little confidence, and they picked up a couple first downs as they have starting to play an admirable game here in the second quarter.
as Booker T once again in the I backfield. One receiver in the slot to the bottom half, one to the top. They turn once again and hand to Jackson. Same play. Breaks to the outside, picks up about 4 or 5 yards. And right now, the defensive line for Independence is not getting the penetration they were earlier. As Antoine Courtney, we mentioned him a lot earlier, they're running away from him right now.
Well, one thing also, Daryl, is Independence, knowing that Booker T. Washington passes a lot, has gone to this nickel defense, and that has allowed the run to open up, and they're just going to be content to let Booker T. Washington get 4 or 5 yards and not give up the big play.
And that is so true, as Booker T once again will come up with a 2nd and 6, I backfield. The man in the bottom in the slot usually has been going in motion, and he does again. This time they hand it to him. A lot of pressure, and oh my God, what a huge hit by Antoine Smith.
And Daryl, we're about 50 yards on top of the press box, and we heard that from all the way up here, and that was a lick and a half.
And I hadn't seen a lick like that since the last time I went to Baskin-Robbins. You know, talking about Antoine Courtney, I was talking to him the other day with a local high school legend, Micah Anthony from LaRondra, and he was telling me that this kid's real good, but not quite the player he was, as he thinks he's a legend out there in LaRondra, and I told him to hang it up. He's past tense. This guy's for real for Independence. They come up to center once again. Number 1 is Javon Horn, and 2 receivers to the bottom, I backfield, 1 to the top, and man-to-man. And they're looking for him as a flag goes down. Once again, there's Antoine Smith, gets away from him. Quarterback is stuck by number 31. That's Carlos Spears, and he's down. And I got to tell you something, this Independence team is laying the leather out there.
They'll hit you. They certainly will. And Antoine Smith is awakened these last 2 plays as he almost got in for another tackle, and young man's pumped up. You get a hit like that, you better be pumped up.
And sometimes when you get up a little lead there and the other team starts to move the ball, you get your feelings hurt. You figure, hey, we got to step up. We can't read the paper tomorrow or listen to the TV and hear them talk about the offense. We're just as important out here on defense, and they're stepping up right now, putting some licks on Booker T. And Booker T will drop back to punt. That is Duran Jackson deep to receive. Kenny Albritton lined up at his 30-yard line. He's made some nice runs on special teams tonight. We'll see if the Tigers sent all 10 men, as it looks like maybe this time they've backed up into a return mode, and they do. After 2 roughing the kicker penalties, he shanks this one off the right side, and it's taking an Independence roll. Well, they will pick the ball up at their own 48-yard line, so nice field positioning by Independence. Coach Baglio makes the adjustment, calls off the kick block, and they're going to get great field position there after they gave up a couple of roughing the punter penalties.
So Independence, the last 2 offensive series have stopped themselves. Let's see if they can't get something going as they lead 29-0 with 4 minutes to go before halftime. We're here at Independence Tiger Stadium, and what a beautiful evening for football, as temperatures are 82 degrees with the wind about 5 miles out of the east.
And Cyber under center. He'll turn and pitch to Tofield. Tofield's going to break back to the inside. Couldn't quite get there. Breaks a tackle. He's got the corner. He's at the 40, the 30. 1 man to beat. Runs him over and out at the 18-yard line. And he didn't try to juke him or anything, Marty. Just put the head down and ran right over the young man.
And that was an outstanding run by Tofield as he was bottled up on the outside. He made a juke step and a stutter step, and he showed his outstanding speed, and he ran over number 35, Curtis Walker, and that's 6 foot, 210 pounds coming at you of man.
But a flag on the play is going to go against Independence. And I got to tell you something. You talk about a kid with all that talent, and after the young man got up, he ran over, he patted him on the helmet, said, nice job. And so a good kid along as being a very talented kid.
And that's one thing I want to mention about this Independence team is I've noticed in the first half, somebody for the other team makes a good play, they help them up. You know, they're good, but they're not cocky. And that shows a lot by the coaching staff and getting these young men to be poised and take the good with the bad. Independence is good, everyone knows that, but folks are not cocky, and they have a lot of class.
So the penalty brings them back to the 49-yard line. It will be 1st and 7, as the penalty was enforced from the spot of the foul, which was downfield. He's going to roll left, and he's throwing deep to number 32. Rod Williams has to wait for it. And oh, broken up nicely there. I believe that's number 35 for Booker T, Curtis Walker. We've seen Cyber throw the ball on the rope tonight. That one hung up a little bit, but Williams had a step on it.
And Rod Williams is another good athlete. You know, we're talking about Kenny Albritton, and but on the other side, Ron Williams, I was watching him in warm-ups, and he's got hands like Steve Largent. You get it anywhere around him, and the young man will catch it.
And a ball that carried a good 40 yards in the air, so nice throw by Cyber. Antron will come up to the line as he leads this Independence offense with his tacked on 29 points here in the first half. Under center, man in motion to the near side. Takes a snap, pitches to Tofield. Can he get to the outside? As he does, turns the corner. Once again, puts his head down and will pick up the first down. So nice run by Tofield. And we've seen him make nice cuts and everything, but sometimes when he knows he just needs a first down, he puts his head down and he comes up a little gimpy on the play there, Marty.
And Darrell, that was a sweep toss to the left side, and Tofield just doing it once again as they bring the ball to the 38-yard line, 1st and 10 once again for Independence.
So Independence is slowly marching down this field, trying to get one more score before the half ends. We're not sure of the time as it is being kept on the field. One thing we're sure of, Independence is leading this game 29-0 in the first half. Nice throw. That's Albritton to the outside, and a man-to-man tackle made by number 29, Krishan Cannon, and Cyber put that one right on the money on the line.
That's just not fair. The young man rolls out, 15-yard out on a frozen rope.
And I wish we knew the time left in the first half. It's got to be closing down right before halftime as Independence tries to put one more on the board before we go to the half. And when they do go to the half, Coach Baggs has to be pleased, aside from a couple of penalties, at how this Independence team has played tonight. They got a 1st down and 10 at the 23-yard line. Once again, Tofield, the long setback. Snap goes. They fake it to Tofield. Cyber rolls left, pulls up, throws the ball, and overthrows Quentin Weatherford as he was wide open coming across the middle.
And right there, that was a drag pattern right across the middle by Quentin Weatherford, and Sieber just could not hit him as Weatherford was open.
And Independence trying to get everybody involved in this offense, and they're doing a good job so far tonight of getting everybody somewhat involved. They put the ball in a few different people's hands, but your big play guys have been Cyber, Tofield, and Albritton for the Tigers tonight as they lead 29-0 with just a few minutes left before the half. 2nd down and 10 from the 23-yard line. Tofield, the lone back, split backfield. He fumbles the snap a little bit, will cut it up inside, take it himself, makes a leap, gets to the outside. He's going to get inside and down at the 10-yard line. Nice run there by Cyber. Fumbled the snap, but had enough heads up to just take the ball and put it upfield, get what he could, and he might be awful close to the 1st down. He will get the 1st down, bring up 1st and goal at the 10-yard line.
And that was a busted play, but he had the presence of mind to pick the ball up and not only pick up the 1st down, but get out of bounds and avoid injury and also stop the clock to give Independence a chance to tack on some more right before half.
So 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. We haven't seen Independence much in the red zone as they scored from far out on all the plays tonight. So we'll see what they can do down close here as we move from right to left. Cyber hands it to Tofield, hit at the line, dragging people, busts up the middle, he scores, and it's going to be hard for Booker T to try to make man-on-man tackles on this kid as he is so strong.
So strong, so fast, and like you said, Darrell, one man's not going to bring him down, and that is Tofield's 2nd touchdown of the night, and that'll bring the score to Independence 35, Booker T. Washington nothing, with my man Quentin Weatherford on to attempt the PAT.
And for Tofield, that's number 12 touchdown of the year as he leads the AAA scoring for the state coming in this ball game and hadn't done much to hurt that tonight. Weatherford with the kick down, it's up, and it is no good as he pulled this one slightly left. So 35-0 for Independence as they will bring on the kicking team to kick off to Booker T. Right now, we'd like to thank one of our sponsors, and that is Wall Street in Hammond. Marty, what can we say about Wall Street? Joey has built a fantastic location down there. They're located at 216 West Thomas in downtown Hammond. It used to be Hammond's best-known secret. It's now one of Hammond's finest eating and drinking establishments. Enjoy oysters on the half shells as well as daily lunch specials. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. Owner Joey Shalacy invites everyone to come by for great food and entertainment, and also building a new restaurant in downtown Hammond, Jordan's on Kate. So Cyber will line up to kick off as Independence has totally dominated the first half. A couple of first downs by Booker T, and that's been about it. Independence made a couple of mistakes and shut down one drive, but aside from that, they've pretty much done what they wanted to do at any time on this field tonight, as they've looked awesome, as we've heard a lot about them coming in this game, and they haven't let us down.
No, they haven't.
So Cyber lining up to kick, waiting for the official's time.
Saber will kick for the Tigers.
He will kick off, and it will go out of bounds. There'll be a flag as he didn't keep it in place. So Booker T will take over here. And if I've been mispronouncing Mr. Sieber's name, as I've been told here, I apologize. And I can tell you right now, they may not know the pronunciation of his name, but every team around knows who this kid is because he can flat out play. So the Independence defense walks back out on the field. And usually when you think about your defense being on the field a lot during a ball game, it means you're losing. But tonight, Independence has scored so quickly that the defense has been on a lot of time, and they've played very well. The defensive backs have covered the receivers, a lot of penetration. And we haven't mentioned a lot about the linebackers, but they've made great containment. And right now they're shutting out this Booker T team. And we thought coming in that this might be a little bit of a scoring battle, but yet to get on the board. Give credit to the Independence defense,
As they have done a whale of a job. Independence defensively, offensively, special teams. They've done a good job tonight. And Booker T. Washington, as Darrell, has not done anything.
They drop back to pass. Great penetration as Courtney and Mulkey in his face. Courtney puts a lick on him, and it is caught. And I don't know how he came up with that as number 31, Carlos Spears, laid a lick on him right as the ball got there, but he'll complete it for a 9-yard gain. And Javon Horn took quite a hit from Antoine Courtney as he stayed with the play and made a big hit on him right as he let it go. And Horn doesn't look like he's on too good of legs right now as they come up with a 2nd and 1 at the 45-yard line.
And Darrell, Booker T. Washington may be losing 35-0, but they are not giving up as they constantly keep battling and trying to get something going.
So with 2 minutes left here in the first half, as the officials have called, Booker T will line up with a 2nd and 1 at their 49-yard line. And I'm sure Coach Charles Perkins desperately would like them to get on the board to have something to talk about at halftime. So our backfield, one man in the slot in tight and one man high. As the tight end lines up to the high side, they will hand off to Jackson up the middle. He cuts back, picks up the first down to the 48-yard line of Booker T as the clock will keep rolling until, looks like, is that Independence calling the timeout? Or are they calling it to move the chains? So the clock will stop, and we're not sure the exact time. And it is timeout by Booker T. Washington. I believe that might be their 2nd one. I'm not real sure as the scoreboard is not working for us. We'd like to take this time to thank one of our sponsors, and that is Fidelity Finance. They're located at 118 North Kate Avenue in downtown Hammond. Fidelity Finance of Hammond is locally owned and operated. Stop by our office or call us at 429-8000 for all your money needs. You know, with Christmas coming up and, you know, birthdays all the time, school, you got kids, whatever you may need a little extra money for, go by and see them down at Fidelity Finance, and I'm sure they can take care of you. Also, Ragusa Building Supply, located at 405 West Railroad Avenue in downtown Independence. Owner Charles Ragusa, I saw him before the ball game, and he is a huge Independence booster. And him and Bruce and Judy do a fine job down there helping you make sure you get the right things that you need. They have all your electrical, plumbing, building supplies, painting supplies, you name it, they have it. And a lot of friendly service down there. They've been in business a long time, and I guarantee you a lot of these houses in this area have Charles Ragusa's trademark on them, as a lot of supplies have come right from that store. And Independence, 35-0, Marty. This is all we expected from them, and they haven't let us down.
No, they haven't, Darrell. You know, we heard a lot about them. They're definitely worthy of their number 2 ranking in the state. And like you said, they have not let us down. They're just a very potent football team.
The number 2 ranked Independence Tigers, they're only behind number 1 ranked Evangel, which they took to the max limit last year and almost beat them over in Evangel in the state semifinals. Fumble on the snap, it's on the ground. I think Horn might have come back with it, but Independence says they have it. Let's wait for the officials. And they do have it. And there's got to be maybe a minute and a half left in this first half, and let's see if Independence tries to take it in and get one more score before halftime. But back to what we were talking about with Evangel, Marty, Independence last year, and you know, we were coming back from the John Curtis Hammond High game, and Buddy Delaberto announces on the air that Independence had won the ball game, and I can't tell you the elation we felt that another local team had made it to the Dome, only to find out that they lost in the last couple of minutes. So even though you've got Kentwood and Amite and Salmon on your schedule, you know you're good, and you know you got to beat those good teams, but somewhere down the road, I believe that they feel like they want to get back on the field with Evangel and prove that they're just as good or better than they are.
And if they're going to meet the team, if they're going to meet Evangel, it's probably going to be in New Orleans, and it would be a dream matchup.
And I got to tell you, we came through Independence a couple of times this week. They're yelling purple signs everywhere, Tiger territory. As Sieber drops back, he's rolling out, trying to avoid the rush. Can he get to the outside? And cuts it upfield and will go out. And he ran about 40 yards only to get a no gain on the play, but quite an athletic move to get over there and get out of bounds and stop the clock. But coming through Tickfall tonight on the way here, huge banner, welcome to Tiger territory. So everybody is following this team, and they know the expectations are there for them. And hopefully they'll be able to keep up this performance tonight and also through the regular season and fulfill the destiny that it seems like everybody feels like this team should have. So with about a minute left to go in the second quarter, Sieber pitches to Tofield. He'll crate to the outside, stiff arms one man, cuts back, gets to the outside. He's at the 30, 25. He's going to go, and he's going to walk in. Look at the moves on that guy. I mean, that is incredible as he scores his 3rd touchdown of the half. That gives him 15 for the year, Marty. Excuse me, 13 for the year.
And just another great run by LeBrandon Tofield. You hate to beat a dead horse, but all you can do is just sit here and watch, and you're mesmerized as the things he can do when he puts his hands on the football. And
the scary thing is, Marty, he's only a junior here at Independence, and you know, we're here watching him tonight. Hopefully you're out there going to be watching him, a lot of people around, but I guarantee you there's a lot of college scouts out there watching this young man as he's got all the tools. If he can stay injury-free, definitely a major college prospect. Quentin Weatherford lines up for the extra point, and this one he drills through. So 42-0, you know, 42 unanswered points for Independence in the first half as they have dominated this game totally. As we see on the sideline, the Independence guys are all smiles as the cheerleaders are all happy, the people in the stands are happy, and quite a performance here tonight for Independence.
As we get ready for halftime, and what a halftime show will be, the Independence marching band along with the dance girls, the Tigerettes, and the cheerleaders. We've got the whole package here, so stay tuned at halftime for the halftime show as Catfish Phil will bring you the halftime show. And after the halftime show, myself and Darrell will be back to bring you the second half.
And if it's another second half like the first half, it's all Independence. And so far on defense, we were wondering if they would miss the big nose guard, Don Drake, 6'3", 320-pound nose tackle. So far tonight, they've been able to handle it without him, and we know he's a big part of their defense. They want to get him ready next week for Kentwood. Sieber kicks off, and he's pumped up. This one's going deep in the end zone. It's not going to be playable as they will bring it out. Less than a minute left to go in the second quarter. Booker T will just try to get out of this half and basically go into halftime in the locker room and lick their wounds as they've just been beaten all over the field by a very talented Independence Tiger football team.
And Darrell, Booker T. Washington has some good athletes. They're well coached. It's just that they've had some misfortune to run up a team that is, to be quite honest with you, far more superior. And sometimes, you know, that happens. But you learn lessons in a game like that. What you want to do is you want to come out of here with something positive to build on for district and the next week.
And I just believe that they thought they would make a little better showing so far in the first half, which they haven't. Nothing seems to work for them, and Independence has made all the right moves tonight. Horn drops back to pass, pressured hard, hit once again as he let it go, and that's number 57, Antoine Smith, as a flag flies, and they might get him for roughing the passer there, but that was pretty close on the play, but they've been in Horn's face all night. He hasn't let a pass go without getting hit. And the way now they're going to call holding on Booker T, so not a late hit on Independence, but reminds me a lot of the way we've seen Steve Young lately in the NFL. He's getting battered and bruised, and so is Horn tonight, as Independence has had the pressure up the middle all night long.
And they have been coming with tremendous pressure. As Independence, clicking on all cylinders, as every part of their game seems to be going smoothly tonight, as they have bolted to a 42-0 lead late in the first half.
And at this time, we'd like to send out our condolences to a good friend of ours, grandfather, former Independence resident, Mr. John Massaracchia, passed away this morning. That's Mr. Dominic Skalash's father-in-law, him and CC, and we want to send our heartfelt condolences to them as a loss on their part tonight. So Independence late in the second half leads this game 42-0 as a flag is on the field. And what do you say about a team that has played great special teams, great defense, and great offense, except that they're the total package and they're for real? And we're going to see them next week against the Kentwood Kangaroos. Kentwood is a powerful team. They also went to the Dome, lost in overtime to Southern Lab in a heartbreaker. And I know they're still flip-flopping a couple of quarterbacks trying to find a combination that works, but they've been impressive. We saw them in the Jamboree, and they're a hard-hitting team. So it ought to be a whale of a ball game next week, as we will bring you Independence Kentwood on the Tangi Game of the Week. And don't forget, on Saturdays and Sundays and Wednesdays, not only do we do the Game of the Week, we also get Ponchatoula, which that's Ron and Crawfish down there bringing you action, and Benny Latina and Jeff Davis up there in Hammond bringing you all that action. So a lot of great high school football on Tangi Television, Channel 17 on your local cable station. Horn can't quite hear the signs of this Independence crowd's kind of loud here. He's changing them up. He's going to drop back and throw the quick out to number 5, and Husband brings it out, catches it at the 37-yard line. We'll get a first down, and we got to be slowly running out of time here without the clock. We're not sure how much time it is, but a nice completion as they ran that pass 4 or 5 times. First time they've really completed the timing pattern to the outside.
And that's just simply a hard pass to defend, Daryl, a fade route, and Horn completed it to Hudspeth, and Hudspeth made a nice catch for a first down for Booker T. Washington, and that's one of the few positives the Lions have made tonight.
And right now we'd like to let you know about the Independence cheerleader, and I'm going to try not to screw up these names too bad, but Shelly Vovidich, Ashley Harrison, the captain, Jan Gilliott, Candace Fendelson, co-captain, Brandy Rivers, Jessica Ridgedale, Amanda Durbin, Crystal Fideli, Stephanie Anderson, Elisa Costanza, Candace West, Noel Young, Vicki Williams, Jennifer Anzalone, Terrence Williams, the mascot, Cassie Frelou, Lorinda McKinney, Aaron Costa, Shaquina Griffin, Sheila Owens as a sponsor, and we saw them in the pregame. They've done a nice job. A few seconds left to go in the first half. Horn under center, and probably you'll see them going up top here trying to get something on the board as they trail 42-0, and they're going to pitch and throw the halfback pass back to the quarterback. Read perfectly there by number 63, Nathan Hatfield, not fooled for a second as he stayed home and covered the quarterback coming around on the outside. So bring up a 3rd and 10 at the 40-yard line for Booker T.
And that's just good textbook defense right there by Hatfield, staying in your positions and making a fine play right there. And Booker T. Washington had the right idea, but they just could not complete it.
So with only 21 seconds left to go here in the first half, Independence has totally dominated this ball game as they have put together a great performance here in the first half. Booker T once again with a 3-receiver set, one in the slot and one wide out to the bottom half, one to the top. With 20 seconds left, you figure they got to go up top, look for them in man coverage to the top half of the screen as they're throwing to the outside once again to Husband, but Albritton's there, picks it off. He's got a lane. He might go. Only one to beat is the quarterback as he cuts back, runs it to the wide side. He's going to score. And they threw that play once too often. Albritton read it perfectly.
And Albritton has been a welcome addition to that defensive backfield, Daryl, as he has made outstanding play after play. And what a good athlete Kenny Albritton is.
And we talked to Coach Joe Levine before the ball game, and he said they want to get him ready because he's going to be tested next week with the Kentwood receiver. I believe it's Demetrius Hookfin, and he's quite an athlete also at receiver, so he'll be matched up a lot next week against him.
So Independence pouring it on late in the first quarter, and folks, this is no mistake. Independence leads 48-0 just before halftime, and they just have not done anything wrong tonight.
And former local legend Kurt Michon on the sideline, former Independence Tiger there, as he's one of the biggest fans around.
Well, he certainly is, Kurt Michon, and a big Tiger fan and a great supporter, and Kurt's helped us out a lot. He's got us in contact with a few sponsors, and we appreciate Kurt.
The second half of tonight's Tangi TV Game of the Week as Independence is up 49-0. Kickoff will go to Weatherford at the 35, breaks outside, will bring it up to about the 45-yard line. And starting the second half, Independence has really blown this game out. We look to see a lot of different faces here in the second half, and we want to remind everybody to go by and thank our sponsors, which are Hammond Motel in Hammond. Go by and see Sam Patel and thank him for us. Fidelity Finance, Wall Street in Hammond, Promoters in Albany, the Independence High School Boosters Club. So we want to thank all of them for helping us tonight. and also Ragusa's Hardware, which is right here in Independence. Go by and see Charles and thank you for helping us put this game on the air. As Independence will start out the second half leading 49-0, and pretty much they've done everything tonight right and have made very few mistakes.
And once again, Sebring will direct the offense. He's got Tofield in the backfield, the lone setback.
Sieber takes a snap, fakes to Tofield, is going to throw the ball. Nice little out pattern to Weatherford, and he drops it. So it looks like they might want to come out and work on a few things here tonight, Marty, that they know that Tofield can get it on the corner. Let's see. I think they're going to try to work a little bit on the passing game.
Well, when you're up 49-0 to begin the third quarter, obviously the game is in hand. So Independence right now is going to continue to try to execute. Obviously they're not going to try to show the other team up, but they want to give repetitions to their starters because there are tougher games ahead, and you need to, you know, the blowouts are good to get young players into play, but you also need to get your veterans execution.
Tofield will take the snap, and he comes to a complete stop, jumps back inside, gains about 6 yards on the carry. He's down to the Booker T 48, and I look for Independence maybe trying to run the ball a little more inside the tackles, keep the clock moving, and with a 49-0 lead, they're just going to try to get out of here with no injuries tonight.
That's a very good point, Darrell. In a game that you have well in hand, you do not want to risk any injuries, but on the other hand, you got to let your first string guys get in there and get repetition so they can be a cohesive unit and gel as one.
And you want them to be in sync, but I don't look forward to seeing maybe 1 or 2 series here in the third quarter, and they'll get some other guys in the ball game. Tofield takes the handoff, busts through the hole. He'll get the first down, carrying people inside the 35-yard line down to the 33. And Tofield in the first half had 11 carries for 170-something yards and 3 touchdowns, and he just picked up about 20 already here in the third quarter, so he's off to another big ball game.
And that'll be a face mask penalty against the Booker T. Washington Lions, Darrell, and everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Whose theory was that?
Confucius? Or am I just confused?
A little bit of both. But we failed math. Who cares?
Willie Grant did his best for us, but we just couldn't quite get there.
It was some scientist. Somebody out there will know. But nevertheless, that'll be a first down once again for the Tigers, and they are threatening as they move the ball to the 19-yard line.
First down and 10 after the face mask call. Sieber in at quarterback. With the lone tailback is Tofield. He'll turn, fake the handoff, going to roll to his right. Got a lot of running room there. One receiver. He's going to keep this one. He's going to get all the way in. That's touchdown. A lot of speed to the outside there as Sieber will score to make the score Independence 55 and Booker T nothing. We'll try to kick the extra point. Marty, what can you say about this offense? Everything that they've done well, and Sieber has made great decisions tonight.
Well, he did. He saw that the receiver was covered, so he saw an opening on the outside, and he just tucked it in and sprinted in from 18 yards out to bring the score to Independence 56 and Booker T. Washington nothing.
And the kick is up, and it will be taken at about the 10-yard line by Jackson. He brings it up the middle, cuts left. He's going to be slowed up there and knocked down at the 24-yard line. Marty, Independence has scored almost every time they've touched the ball. They've only punted once, and, you know, we got our stats from Mr. Billy Gazzardo down there on the halftime, and he did a lot of practice and adding up numbers, selling them barbecues in Hammond. I think he needs to stick to selling the barbecues, but his scores are too high in golf to add up, so maybe that's why he's there. But Independence has done everything right tonight, and they have blown out to a 56-0 lead here early in the third quarter. And defense has done the job for them. Offense has been explosive, but defense has done the job tonight.
And they have, Darrell, the defense has been equally up to the task of the offensive. They have not allowed Booker T. Washington but 2 first downs this whole game.
Horn once again will hand off to Jackson. He gets to the corner, breaks to the outside. Nice hole there. Runs into number 5, Otto Bonds, and maybe in and a little bit over as he put his head down. And Jackson has had flashes of brilliance tonight as he's looked good when he's gotten in the open field, and that's what's amazing about this score. Booker T is not a bad team, but they're just getting overwhelmed tonight.
Yeah, they are, Darrell, and Booker T, like you say, has a lot of good athletes, and they're a young team, and they'll bounce back. And like they had an early season tragedy, and that's got to be sticking to their minds. So it's a team that has not given up, and they've hung in here and played to the best of their ability.
Right now, Independence in a 4-3 defense, and Antoine Courtney putting the pressure on. It's going to be picked off. That's number 89, David Copeland. He's going to go to distance in a short period of time as Independence opens up a 62-0 lead here at Tiger Stadium. Extra point, Quentin Weatherford to try to get the lead up to 63-0 as they have come out in the second half and put 2 quick touchdowns on the board, and he booted that one right over the screen. Nice leg by Weatherford as Independence leads 63-0 here in the third quarter. And Independence will line up to kick it off as they lead 63-0. Kick is taken at the 14, busts up the middle, and he's going to be stacked up at the 28-yard line as we see a lot of young players in for Independence. This Independence team looked tonight to come in here for a little tougher match and try to fine-tune and get everything ready for next week against Kentwood, but they have just really been magnificent in every area of the ball game tonight.
And that they have, Darrell. I mean, you can only say so much about this Independence team. You sit here and marvel at how tough they are, and they just have it all. Offense, defense, special teams, like we say, the total package. And right now, some of the young guys getting a chance to play, and that helps you down the year for years to come. You get these second-teamers in here, and it's valuable experience.
Yes, it is, and it also keeps your starters fresh as we have a timeout by Booker T. Booker T. Washington down 63-0 here in the third quarter. Has yet to find a combination that'll work on this Independence defense as we see a lot of the second-teamers come in, getting a little playing experience in. So let's see if Booker T. can maybe move the ball down the field a little bit and keep Independence's offense off the field as they've been dangerous, but also the Independence defense. Horn hands the ball off to Jackson. That's the one play that has worked for him all night, but this time only picks up about 2 yards as Independence gang tackles on the outside.
And he was stopped by number 46, Lionel Joseph, one of those young guys getting in there, getting some PT, and telling Coach Baglio, hey, Coach, give me a shot. I can tell you, too.
Little PT, baby, a la Dickie V, as Independence is just rolling along here in the third quarter, winning this ball game with a score of 63-0. They've done it on all facets of the game, on the special teams, defense, and offense, and right now, Kentwood's going to be looking up the road here. It's going to be a great ball game next week here on Tangi Game of the Week as the Kangaroos and the Tigers will tangle on Channel 17. Horn comes up to center with the I backfield. He's going to drop back to pass, and they've got a little swing pass to Jackson out the backfield. Had him open, but couldn't quite complete his pressure once again up the middle. This time it was Jonas Clay right in the face of Horn.
And Horn trying to hit the back out the backfield, but he just overthrew him once again. And Independent second team, Darrell, doing a good job, getting excited, getting in, and they're not letting up. And Booker T. Washington just simply cannot get anything going tonight.
And Independence has done everything right, from the football players to the band, the talented young ladies on the dance team, talented and beautiful, we might add, also the lovely cheerleaders. And this is a fine facility up here at Independence, and they pack it each week and put on a show for any team that comes in here. One of the most feared places to play in Tangipahoa Parish. Horn drops back to pass. He rolls right. Pressure's on. Beautiful play there by number 7. That's Charles Tofield. Came out of nowhere to knock the ball away as number 70. Derek Hunter put the pressure on the quarterback. Nice throw, but Tofield came out of nowhere. Showed a lot of speed there and a little creativity to get in front of the receiver without bumping him.
He made a nice play coming from his corner position, and Horn had the beat on him, but Tofield was able to recover to knock the pass down. So Booker T. Washington forced the punt. Back deep to receive will be Devarius Best for the Tigers.
The defensive back to receive this punt as they're trying to get somebody else some experience back there. That is Jackson back to punt. Ball's away and a line drive. Best will take it. This is returnable. Cuts to the outside. A couple of good blocks. And we got a flag down as he will cut it. He's going to cut the corner. He might go all the way. Jackson to beat. Cuts back to the inside. Down at about the 12-yard line, but we're going to have a holding on this one, Marty. Didn't see who it was in the backfield, but a nice run there and a great block by number 7, Charles Tofield, to spring him to the corner. But they got a holding somewhere back here along the way, and they're going to bring it back. So Independence will probably be on offense on about their 30-yard line with a 1st and 10.
And that's a shame, Darrell, as that was a nice run by Bess and only to be nullified by a penalty. So that'll back Independence up to about the 30-yard line as they'll set up shop, 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, folks, and yes, it has been a very long game as both teams have, as Booker T. Washington has thrown the ball over 35 times, and we're only into the midway to the third period.
So the Tigers will come up to the line with a new quarterback, Don Alak. Also a new tailback as flags fly. I can't see his number as of yet. Looks like number 22, Phil Todora. I'm not sure if that's correctly pronounced, but doing our best here. And there will be a timeout by Booker T. As we see the Independence crazies here on the sideline trying to get this crowd fired up, as they're so far ahead now, everybody's just laying back and enjoying it, as I'm sure the coaching staff and the Independence players will do after this game tonight, as they've put on quite a show. So we come back out middle of the third quarter with a 63-0 ball game as the second team offense is on the field. That's number 10, Don Alak, in at quarterback, and if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Don Alak was a former schoolmate of mine, his dad, and that must be his son in at quarterback. And we'll see if he can get this Tigers offense moving on the second team as hit the field. Takes the ball, pitches it to Todora. Flag down, cuts right, hit hard. Ball's on the ground loose, but looks like Independence has it. That might be number 61, Jim Gregory, in on the recovery, but also a flag on the field once again.
And some of the second teamers there, Darrell getting a chance to show what they can do. Don Alak's in there, Philip Todora, and right there's a holding penalty, and you're going to have that when the second team get in, a little jitters, trying to make something happen to show Coach Baglio that they can play, and somebody got called for the holding, so that'll back them up 10 yards, bringing up 1st down and 20 for Independence as they take over from their own 17-yard line.
And we see Ryan Gazzardo and Jim Gregory and looks like Tony Damiano in on the offensive line. Also number 73, Ezra Spurlock, in on the offensive line. If they've made wholesale changes here. Number 81 lined up to the bottom side. That's Matt Jones. Once again, Alak in the I formation under center. Takes the handoff, hands it to the fullback. Big hole up the middle, and that's number 24. Brandon Dawson carries him out to about the 25-yard line. Will bring up a 2nd and 12 as he picked up 8, and he's a strong-looking kid there.
He sure is, as he ran the ball hard. Big bruising fullback, Brandon Dawson, goes 180 pounds, and he picked up 12 yards, so that'll bring up 2nd down and 8 for the Tigers.
So Alak will come up under center on 2nd and 12, I believe it is, after the penalty. Alak takes a snap, hands off to the door. He's going to cut to a seam to the outside, cuts back up, got a hold, breaks to the outside, kept his balance, dragged down at the 48-yard line by number 35, Curtis Walker, and what a nice run there by number 22. That's Phil Todora. He's a 5'8", 170-pound junior tailback, and you look at this kid and you say he's got a lot of talent also, but playing behind one of the premier running backs in the state in Brandon Tofield, he hadn't got a lot of playing time, but a beautiful run there.
And it was a nice run. It's good for the young man to get in and get some experience, and done a good job.
So 6 minutes to play here in the third quarter, 63-0 your score. Independence has dominated this ball game in every aspect. So Alak takes a snap, hands off to the fullback, and he's hit at the line, but forces forward. That's number 9, Danny Wells, as he'll gain about 9 yards after getting hit in the backfield. And a nice run there. He just put his head down and gained what he could out of a play that really had nothing going for it whatsoever, as Booker T desperately trying to keep Independence out the end zone. You know, it's going to be a long ride back to New Orleans for these kids after getting a beating like they've taken tonight, because Independence has played one well of a game. Alak under center. He will take the snap, pitch the ball out to number 34. That's Oliver Watson. Cuts back inside. Will pick up 1. So we're seeing a lot of new players on the field, folks. We're going to try our best to get these numbers out there for you.
And Oliver getting a chance to play as they've got a plethora of running backs. We've seen Tedora, we've seen Tofield, we've seen Watson, and he picked up 3 yards. Nice hard running. Tonight's game is being sponsored by Fidelity Finance of Hammond, located at 118 North Kate Avenue in downtown Hammond. Fidelity Finance is locally owned and operated. Stop by and call us at 429-8000 for all of your money needs. That's Fidelity Finance of Hammond.
And also the Independence High Booster Club sponsoring tonight's game. And as we see the big fullback, number 24, that's Brandon Dawson, powers up the middle and gains about 12 yards and will pick up the first down to the 36-yard line. And looks like we have an injured Booker T. Line down on the field. There's also a flag down in the area of where the tackle was made. It's probably a face mask, and yes, it is. And we'd also like to thank Hammond Motel, Sam Patel there in Hammond. They're doing a fine job. Have some reasonably priced, clean rooms there. So if you need a place to stay, you're in Hammond one night, go by and see Sam Patel at Hammond Motel, located at the corner of Thomas and Morrison, right behind S&S Sports Center.
And also tonight's game being brought to you by Wall Street Eatery, located at 216 West Thomas Street, owned and operated by Joey Shalacy. And also coming soon, another Joey Shalacy production, Jordan's on Kate. Fine dining at its best.
Go by and see the genius at Wall Street. Number 10, Alak on the center, first down and 10, and that's once again the big fullback as he's powering down, and he drags them down to about the 16-yard line, and we've seen a lot of speed for Independence here with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, but this Dawson kid has got a lot of power, and you look for maybe later in the year if they get up a little bit in one of these tight ball games, bringing him in the game to get you some tough yards.
Hey, he has looked good, Darrell, as he is running very hard. He constantly pumps those legs, and that's what you got to do. He's a big kid, and he's hard to bring down.
And only a sophomore, I believe, there, Brandon Dawson. So Alak under center. We have number 44 in at tailback. That's Chris Bonds. He's a freshman. So a lot of players getting to play here tonight. Alak will take the snap, hand off to Bonds. He's going to cut right. Bumped into his own man and draw it down for about a 1-yard loss. Independence, getting a lot of players in the game here is good for your program. These kids work as hard as the starters do during the week. It's nice to get them into the ball game so they can have something to talk about, something to tell mom and dad and grandma and grandpa to watch on Tangi TV and get to see them play.
And it is exciting, Darrell, as you get a chance to play with the varsity, you work hard at practice, you work the scout team, and it pays off on Friday night. When your team bolts out to a big lead, you get an opportunity to get in there and you make the best out of it.
And what a feeling it would be for one of these young men to get in the end zone. Nothing like the feeling of high school football on a Friday night, as here he goes once again to the outside, and he's going to be stuffed, brought down for no gain. He'll bring up fourth down. So Independence late in the third quarter has this game well in hand, 63-0. And from the view of this, I'm not sure if they're going to go for it or kick, but these young men are out here putting forth a lot of effort, and Booker T doesn't want to let any more points on the board than they already have. And for Independence to go for it here is really not running the score up, as you've got your second team in there trying to get them some work, staying conservative, the ball on the ground. Coach Baggs knows what it's all about. He's been there a long time. He does a fine job here at Independence. So I backfield to Dora, and they're going to get a 5-yard penalty as one of the linemen jumped forward for Independence.
And also blocking well at the receiver spot is number 1, David Giacone, and also 81, Matt Jones. Those two young receivers have done a good job of blocking tonight. That's Giacone and Jones. That'll be a penalty on Independence, so that'll drop them back 5 yards, bringing up 4th down and 9 for the Tigers.
And, Marty, we've seen a lot of teams in the parish so far this year, and Independence has to be ranked right up there with the best of them, as we've seen Kentwood, Namete, Ponchatoula, Hammond. St. Thomas is vastly improved. We saw Springfield last week. They're good. Albany struggling a little bit, but they played a good ball game, a lot of good effort last week. So we've seen a lot of good football here in Tangipahoa Parish, one of the best parishes around. Alak rolls out. It's going to try to get to the outside, just going to run out of bounds there, as Booker T will take over on downs. Will come to the line. Number 1, Javon Horn, still in at quarterback. This is Daryl Smith along with merely Marty Morgan and our cameraman Catfish Phil bringing you this game tonight live on Tangi TV. Excuse me, tape delayed. As he throws over the middle intended for Jackson. Might have had a half step there, but he couldn't complete it, and that's been the story for Booker T all night. They get a man halfway open and can't complete it, and when they do have one that he puts on the money, Independence has come up with the play from the defensive backs tonight.
And Daryl, Juwan Horn has shown us that he has a strong arm. He's just not had the timing to hook up with his receivers, and thus far he's thrown numerous passes over receivers and under receivers. And but I think Independence, the pressure and also the defensive backfield play, they're just having a tough time competing against this Independence Tiger football team.
Well, they're throwing a lot of timing patterns, and Independence's front line has put a lot of pressure on him tonight. It's hit him a lot of times, so they run the reverse to the opposite side. That's Jackson, and he is gang tackled at the 28-yard line. That didn't fool anybody. And right now, you're not going to fool Independence with gimmick plays as they're just sitting there waiting for them. So the defense has done a whale of a job here tonight, and we'd like to take our hats off to the Independence coaching staff as they've come in here and they've been ready to play tonight and done a fine, fine job and up 63-0. I guess that speaks for itself.
Yes, it does, Daryl. As Independence played a fine ball team tonight and played a fine ball game tonight. And they deserve all the accolades from what I've seen, as they have shown nothing to disappoint, and they deserve the #2 ranking in the state.
Horn under center, drops back to pass. Little pass out in the flat, overthrown once again. Will bring up 4th down, and not sure if Booker T is going for this or going to punt, but this game has been over for a long time as we're late in the 3rd quarter, and it's might bring up the end of the 4th quarter real soon. Independence walking to the other end of the field with just a few seconds left, and we'll be back to bring you the 4th quarter right after this. Thank Charles Ragusa's Building Supply here in Independence, locally owned and operated for a long time. Have all your electrical plumbing needs. As we watch Booker T line up the punt, he gets the punt away. It's a line drive. It will take a 1-hop. Fielded on the bounce by number 7, misses 1 tackle, cuts up the left side. He's out to about the 50 to the 45-yard line. Charles Tofield on the carry. So once again, we were talking about our sponsors, and you know, next time you're in Ragusa's Hardware or you're at Pro Motors in Albany, Wall Street in Hammond Motel, any of these guys you see that have sponsored us tonight, Fidelity Finance, the Independence Boosters Club, go by and tell them that you appreciate them helping you get to see Independence on the air. We know it's nice for all these kids on a Friday night to be able to say that they were on television, and for people at home that don't get to go to the games, get to watch them, and it's a real nice thing for them to do. Make sure you let them know that you appreciate what they've done to help get high school football on the air. And ALAC pitches to number 34. That's Oliver Watson. And he's going to be brought down for about no gain with a flag on the play. Have to wait and see on this call.
And folks, if your team has not yet been on Tangipahoa television, I promise you, we're coming. We're going to cover every team, if possible, in Tangipahoa Parish. And so hold your horses, as we'll be out there bringing you a game on Tangipahoa television as we try to make everyone happy. And we enjoy doing this, and I know you enjoy seeing it, and it's just a pleasure to be bringing you the high school game of the week.
And for Tangi TV, we do 1 game a week. We bounce around doing the game of the week. Hammond and Ponchatoula are on. And we're going to go all the way through the end of the season and also through the playoffs. And, you know, hopefully we'll get to follow this Independence team a long way, and also maybe Amite, Kentwood, Ponchatoula, Hammond, whoever makes it to the playoffs. LaRondra, we don't leave anybody out. Springfield, Albany, whoever we see that makes it to the playoffs, we're going to follow them throughout the playoffs. So, you know, we're glad to see that high school football in this area is hot and they're doing well. And we've said this before, we think Tangipahoa might be the best high school football parish in the state.
I couldn't agree with you more, Daryl.
That's number 10, ALAC under center. They will hand to 22, and he's hit at the line there. Tadora will pick up about 3 yards, bringing up a 3rd and 3. as Independence is playing a lot of folks here, trying to get some experience for these young men and reward them for the hard work they've done during the week. So 3rd and 3, early in the 4th quarter here, the score is Independence 63, Booker T. Washington 0, and that's right, if you're just tuning in, I didn't make a mistake. It is 63-0. Independence has put on a show tonight. Number 23 in at quarterback, and they're going so deep in on the roster, I don't even have him listed. So I apologize if we don't get the young man's name out there. He's not listed in our program. As he comes in and they pound the ball up the middle.
First down, Tigers.
Bring up first down. As we notice down on the sideline, we see a lot of future little Independence cheerleaders. We've seen young men running out on the field, bringing the balls out, and they start them early here in Tiger territory. Might be another future Meredith Levine or a future LeBrandon Tofield or whoever it may be. We see a lot of people out here tonight, and these stands are still full as they love their football here in Independence.
And Darrell, another thing I would like to notice, that you see a lot of guys that graduated here, a lot of ex-football players, a lot of alumni that stay close to the program, and that's one of the reasons Independence is so successful year in and year out. People appreciate what Charles Baglio has done for them through their high school playing days, and it pays off later in life as they obviously appreciate him because they keep coming back and they enjoy it.
And we've got a young man down on the field for Booker T. Washington, and we'll be back as soon as they take care of it, and hopefully he'll be fine. Number 57, Sidney Nicholas, gets up and limps off the field. We're glad to see that it looks like he's going to be okay. It's nothing serious, as Alak will be under the center. That's number 45 in at tailback. We don't know his name. He's not on the roster. As he makes a nice little cut inside, will only pick up a yard. So they're getting a lot of players in that already on the program, and it's hard for us to keep up with them. But, you know, we're glad that they're getting a chance and the opportunity to get out there and perform tonight. And,
Darrell, like you said, I would venture to say that at least 15 different guys for Independence have touched the ball tonight, and that's a lot of different guys touching the ball. So people getting plenty of experience here. If someone goes down, they have ample backups.
So once again, Independence up to the line. It is 2nd and 8 as they're just keeping the ball on the ground, keeping the clock moving. And that's number 34. Excuse me, 34, Oliver Watson, another fullback in the game. As he bolts up the middle and bruises down to about the 14-yard line, bringing up a 3rd and short. And even with the 3rd string in there, Marty, they're still pounding it right up the gut as they have beaten and worn down these Booker T. Washington Lions tonight, and they are up 63-0, quite a wide margin there. And, you know, I don't really think that they're trying to punch this one in. They're just trying to keep the clock going, but you can't tell a kid who hadn't played not to try to run hard and score, because that's what you want. And this one could very easily get up into the 70-point range, and a big win for Independence as they look next week to a big showdown with the Kentwood Kangaroos. And a classy call by Coach Baglio. They're going to kneel on the ball here and let the clock keep moving, not try to score. And that really is, you've beaten this team down and you've got the win. You've not got any major injuries that we've noticed, and it's just a real classy move by Coach Baglio. Coach Charles Perkins on the other side of the field. It's his 2nd year, and they've taken a whipping here tonight, but that's got to be, he's got to appreciate what Coach Baggs is doing for his kids right here.
And folks, there's 8 minutes to go in this ball game, so Charles Baglio is showing a lot of class.
And they will kneel once again, and Booker T will take the ball over on downs. And, you know, I just like the call. This game is well in hand, and to try to score anymore, it's not necessary. We've seen it done a few times in college, and people get the idea that they run up the score and they don't like it. As we see the coaching staff on the sideline for Booker T, they've worked hard all this week, and it's tough to come out here and play a team that is probably a lot better than them, play your heart out and have a score like this. So for them to kneel on the ball and not run it up anymore, I like the call, and it shows what high school football is really about, sportsmanship. And you're out here to win, of course, but you're out here to compete, and you're not out here to show anyone up.
Final score, Mandeville 9, Carr 7.
So Juwan Horn, once again, Darrell, will be under center as the young man's really played hard, and he's been battle-tested. He's taken some licks, but he's kept on plugging.
And he completes one to Husband. Nice play on the defensive side there by number 43, Wayne Landry, as he was all over him. And the one thing we have noticed about these defensive backs for Independence, there's not a lot of height there. So I know Evangel, which they lost to last year, that they lost to last year in the state semifinals, is a passing team, and they usually have big receivers, so that might be something we look at. But, Albritton did a very good job tonight, and a lot of these other guys, but just not real big, but they've done the job. And we just hear the St. Thomas scores. They have won 21-0, beating Eagle Classique, and they are up to 2-1 on the season there. Hand the ball to Jackson.
Doing a fine job.
They hand the ball to Jackson. Sorry about that, and he is tackled at about the 31-yard line for about a 2-yard gain. Skip Golden has St. Thomas playing a lot better football. It's their first year in varsity competition, and they've won a couple of ball games already and could have won the first one. They actually could be 3-0 right now.
And they could be, but, we've enjoyed covering St. Thomas, the only other school, and we've enjoyed covering Albany, Springfield, all the schools we've covered it. So so far, after 3 weeks of football, we've had 3 good games and had a very good time at each and every one of them.
So Horn comes up to the line on 2nd and 7. He'll drop back and roll right. Nice throw there as the DB fell down. That's Husband out on the outside, and he will be hit out of bounds by number 37. And then once again, he's not in the program, but a nice play to knock him out of bounds as the DB on that side had slipped down, so they complete a pass and move the chains. And Booker T desperately wants to get down here and at least get on the board, not get shut out. Independence defense, though, they've been tough all night. We'll see if the second and third string guys can hold them here and keep this shutout intact as they lead 63-0 midway through the 4th quarter.
And Darrell, one thing I like to say is that Booker T. Washington is not giving up. They could have folded this 10 in long ago, but they keep battling and keep trying to get something going. And I think they're gonna do well in their district this year down in New Orleans. They just ran into a superior team.
And it's something that teaches the lessons of life. When things don't go your way, you keep battling, and sooner or later something good will come for you. As we see Horn roll left, he's going to throw it deep. Got a man open. That's Jackson. And once again, he just throws it right over the outreached arms of Mr. Jackson. There's been a few times where he's had him open but can't quite complete it. But that's a tough pass, rolling left, throwing across your body deep to the outside.
And Darrell, like we talked about, Horn has a very strong arm as he threw that ball about 50 yards in the air, but his problem is he just keeps overthrowing receivers.
And it's got a lot to do with the pressure that the line has put on him tonight, as they will have 2nd and 10 from the 50-yard line. And Booker T. desperately trying to get some points on the board, maybe go out at the end of this game with something positive and try to make that bus ride back to New Orleans a little bit shorter for them. Horn under center once again with trips in the backfield. One receiver to the bottom half of the screen. He's going to turn and pitch it to number 4, Jackson. He'll cut outside, pick up about 4 or 5 yards, and knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line. There is a flag down.
By Andrew Hobbs. Jason Pino.
As we have a man down on the sideline for Booker T. Washington. Down in 3 with 4:36 left to go here in the 4th quarter. Score Independence 63-0. Horn under center will take the snap with an eye backfield, bring it in reverse to Jackson. 2 lead blockers, wide open field. He could go. Couple men to beat. Will cut it back at the 20. And a nice tackle there by number 93, Vernon Wells, to save the touchdown as he had a seam to the outside. That will give him a first down to go at the 16-yard line as Booker T. desperately trying to get something on the board before this game ends, as they have been just totally devastated by this powerhouse of an Independence Tiger football team.
And Darrell, that was the best play of the night for Booker T. Washington, just a sweep around the left side, and Elston Husband rambled 42 yards down to the 16-yard line.
They will come up to the line, everybody in tight in the eye backfield. Jackson in the slot to the left as Horn calls out the signals. Handoff comes back around into the outside. He's got 2 blockers once again. That's Jackson, cuts inside, and we upended at the 3-yard line.
first down.
So this starting offensive team for Booker T is kind of taking advantage of the third-string defense here for Independence, but we're going to see if they can't keep them out the end zone or if Booker T can score to avoid the shutout with less than 3 minutes left to go here in this ball game.
And Jackson has shown some great speed here tonight, Darrell, but running against the second and third teamers, but he's a good back. I'm going to tell you, he's a quick little scat back.
And once again, they come up to the line with Horn at quarterback. I backfield, everybody in tight. Fumbles the snap, ball's on the ground. I'm not sure who has it. We'll wait for them to uncover. I think the Lions may have it. And looked like they were going to bring the same play back to the wide side of the field once again as Jackson was coming in motion, but the snap fumbled by Horn. Clock ticking late in the fourth quarter as Independence leads 63-0 as they get ready for the arrival of the Kentwood Kangaroos next week here at Tiger Stadium. Once again, up to the line, it is second and goal from the 4-yard line. I backfield. Hand off to Jackson to the right side, hit at the 1, but he will fumble the ball into the end zone. And looks like maybe Independence will recover. And they will have the ball with just a couple minutes left here in the fourth quarter. Once again, Independence does what it takes to keep them out the end zone, and the final score tonight here is going to be 63-0, as I'm sure Coach Baggs will just kneel on the ball here. So a fine performance by the Independence Tigers, and what can we look forward to next week as Kentwood Kangaroos come to town?
Well, Darrell, you can look for a Kentwood team, a very solid Kentwood team, a team with a lot of speed, a lot of great athletes. I think they, size-wise, are not going to match up with Independence, and probably not depth-wise, but they're sure going to have the same amount of speed. So it's going to be a good game, and Independence looking for a little revenge as last year Kentwood ripped Independence 48-14.
As Alac will turn, and there's a whistle blown here. Not sure what this is for, but we saw Kentwood play A-Meet in the Jamboree as a timeout is taken by Booker T. And, you know, Kentwood came in, and it was a very hard-hitting game and not a lot of offense for both teams, but they forced turnovers on defense and made a lot of big plays there and ended up beating A-Meet in the Jamboree. So Independence will have to be ready. They're a great team, but they're going to have to be ready to play because Kentwood won't lay down and roll over for them.
No, it'll be the biggest test to date, obviously, for the Tigers. When Kentwood comes calling, both teams should be 3-0 and ranked second, respectively, in their divisions, AAA and AA. So we'll be here next week, and we look forward to an exciting matchup as we wind this one down with Independence leading Booker T. Washington 63-0.
As they will just take it and hand it to the fullback up the middle, stacked up, and the clock should be running, and that might just about do it. Might have time for one more play as they're keeping the clock on the field. We're not sure of the time, but this has been an outstanding performance by the Independence Tigers. And LeBrandon Tofield ran the ball extremely well. Also on punt returns was Kenny Albritton, did a fine job. Antron Sieber did a great job at quarterback. The offensive line, great job. And on defense, the backs were there in position to make the plays, and the line put pressure on the quarterback all night long. So a overall gold star performance by the Independence Tigers there as the whistle blows and they stop them on the play. Clock will still be ticking. Independence up 63-0 with just a few seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. The Independence Tigers will move up to 3-0. We'll be home next week to face the Kentwood Kangaroos. Once again, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors as this game winds down. Wall Street in Hammond, Pro Motors in Albany, Ragusa's Hardware, Independence, Fidelity Finance in Hammond, Hammond Motel in Hammond, and the Independence Boosters Club as this clock has ticked down on the Booker T. Washington Lions as they lose to the Independence Tigers 63-0. For Catfish Phil and Mary Marty Moore.